Nothing. What's up with that? You were
sick.
sick.
I was a little ill. I was a little under the weather.
That is not what the casting stone said.
Fuck those casting stones. We'll get into all that, I suppose, on this episode of Strange Frequencies Radio. StrangeFrequenciesRadio.wordpress.com is our website. On that website, not only can you click the Listen Live button and, listen live and chat, you can also get show archives. You can, if you are having difficulty downloading the show through conventional means, you can get the Dropbox link, which will be available on usually the last 15 shows or so, like the last few months worth of episodes. After that, we have to pay, and we're not doing that. We're cheap. So we make those available. You can also contact us through there by email. You can get our little individual bios we have up there, which I don't know why anyone would want to see, but if you want to see our bios and contact us individually, you can. And our Facebook page is linked to from there, which is facebook.com/Strange Frequencies Radio. Go on there, give us a like. If you already have, and if you're listening today, you probably have. If you haven't, or if you haven't, give us a like. And if you already have, then feel free to tell your friends. That's always appreciated. All right, so on today's show, we're going to be covering something that we did yesterday. Because we went, Bob, to Lilydale, New York.
That is correct.
Can you tell the people what Lilydale, New York is, just for...
Sure, Lilydale is a part of New York that houses the some people from the spiritualist movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some real-life spiritualists there.
Yeah, spiritualists, mediums, psychics.
It's like a whole little village just of mediums and people who believe in mediumship, like getting readings. Like, people live in houses that there's a shingle up front that says
Yeah. Almost every single house, I would say there's probably probably in the part where there's actual housing is probably about 10 blocks.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And almost every other house has a little sign that hangs off the house that says a name and then right below it, medium.
Yeah, like Peggy Smith, medium or whatever. And you just go knock on the door, basically.
And if they have an opening available right then and there, they will charge you their fee, you pay it, and you get a reading.
Yeah, so we're getting into all that, all the sights and sounds, all the the things we experienced, and even some woo we bought into along the way, like some metaphysical. We had to come back with souvenirs.
Of course.
Before we get into all that, I guess we can get into a few stories first. We've got some ground to cover. We missed last week, so I wanted to talk about maybe the biggest stories that we wanted to talk about last week that we didn't get a chance to. And I guess the first one, if you wanted to start.
Let's talk about it.
I mean, you want to talk about it? I don't know if you had anything else to say.
No, I'm ready.
All right, so you remember those two Wisconsin girls who were involved in that Slenderman case? Remember where they
attempted to kill. They drugged their friend out into the middle of the woods and stabbed her 15 times.
Yeah, 19 times.
And then she was discovered by a passerby.
Yeah, and their names were Morgan Geyser and Anissa Ware, and they're both 13 now. They were 12 when it happened, and the most recent news from that story is that those two girls are going to be going on trial in adult court.
Good.
A judge ruled that they're going to be tried as adults. Now, there is something about that scares me, though. I mean, you say good, and I'm scared of 13-year-old girls going to prison. Is that how it works, though? I mean,
No, they'll be detained in probably some type of holding cell where juveniles go, and then upon 18, they will be shipped to a regular penitentiary. Yeah,
because I don't know how exactly that works.
I don't think they put 13-year-olds in there with,
Well, I know they've put 15 and 16-year-olds in there. So I didn't know about 13-year-olds, and I figured since you were in criminal justice classes
we would probably figure that out upon the ruling, I guess.
I suppose, yeah. There is something that concerns me, I guess, about 12 and 13-year-olds being held responsible. Usually you think of criminal culpability, you have to be 18 or older. Mm-hmm. There is something that bothers me about the 12 and 13, a person committing a crime at 12 being treated like they have adult capabilities, but. So when this story first came out, I didn't think there was any way they were going to be charged as adults. But they've gone through psychological testing. They say that they're not insane or anything. They knew what they were doing. They've got some kooky ideas that Slenderman wanted them to kill this girl.
Yeah.
So they could be part of his tribe or whatever. And so the judge ruled last week that they can be tried in adult court. As ABC News here puts it, in a case charging them with stabbing their friend 19 times to please a fictional character named Slenderman. This happened back in May of 2014, so it's a little over a year old, and we've kind of been following it along the way. So I don't really know what to say about it. I mean, there's nothing I can say that hasn't been said already. It's a really bizarre case.
It's weird.
Yeah. I mean, look, Slenderman started as like an online character that people could kind of like, the cool thing about it, what I thought was cool about it, is that people could go on the internet and make up their own stories involving this character. It wasn't like it was a trademarked character or anything. Yeah. Like, I can't go online and write a story involving, I mean, I guess I could, like in fan fiction or whatever. But what made this story cool is that, like, people on the internet would go and, like, give Slenderman new attributes and, like, things he's done and everything. It's like, it's like a crowdsourced monster story, basically, where you can create it with people from all over the world. And you can write stories about it, or people give in, like, sightings and all this kind of fun stuff. But, yeah, these two girls, unfortunately, took it seriously, like, believed it was real and took it as if it was real, and thought that they had to kill their friend to please Slenderman. Yeah.
Yep. I think they said they were going to play like hide and seek or something. They're going to play some game in the woods, and they dragged the friend out there, and like you said, they stabbed her 19 times.
19 times. And
she lived.
It's honestly, like, I know that some people will probably be upset at me for using this word, but it is a miracle that she didn't die.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about miracles and God came down and interceded or whatever. But it's miraculous to me that she didn't die. It's being stabbed 19 times, and the amount of blood she lost, it was only because, like, there was a bicyclist that just happened to be going by and seen her that the police were called and that she got medical attention. Yeah. I mean, if he wouldn't have come by and found her,
she probably would have bled out.
She probably would have bled out. Yeah. So I mean, I'm certainly glad that she survived, and I think she's, from last I heard from her parents, she's doing as well as can be expected.
Yeah.
You know, she's obviously had to do a lot of healing over the last year. And I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised she doesn't have some psychological
She has some
trauma.
psychological damage there going. You have to have you got stabbed 19 times by your friends.
Yeah.
There's probably going to be some trust issues
there. Some trust issues there going forward, maybe. I mean, I hope that's not the case, but I mean, I always think, like, the one good thing is, like, she's a child. Maybe she can get over this going forward or whatever. You know, children can be resilient in a lot of ways.
I'm going to say that she's probably at the ripe age of this fucked you up for life.
I hope not, but yeah, that's
I mean, when I think of that, like my daughter Nora's 3. If I were to die tomorrow, she probably would have no actual recollection of
She wouldn't remember you at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mila would. Mila's 7. Yeah. She would remember, but when you're 12, that you're not forgetting that. You're not.
No, I don't think she's going to forget that at all.
I don't think there's a.
But can she get over it, and that, like, it won't psychologically traumatize? I mean, is she going to be like 50 years old and still, like, be like needing psychiatric care and not being able to function in society? Yeah. I would hope not. I hope that this is a case where a kid can be resilient, because kids are resilient in a lot of ways. But 12 years old is a rough age to, of course. Well, any age is really rough to be stabbed 19 times by your friends. But I'm just hoping that she doesn't have the psychological damage that people might suspect that she could. So.
Now, Rachel in chat room said developmentally it might impact her worse than if she were older or younger.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting. I mean, so I want to keep following the story. I mean, there might not be any more, new developments on this for a while, at least not until the trial starts or something. And I don't know exactly when that's going to be. But according to ABC News here, if they are convicted in the adult court system, they could each face up to 65 years in prison.
How much?
So up to 65. So it doesn't mean they're going to get 65. Right, if they got the maximum, which is 65 years apparently, they could theoretically die in prison.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, yes, absolutely.
I mean, it would be like 78 or whatever when they were released, and it's not uncommon for people to die before that age. So they could possibly serve the rest of their life in prison.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to this story then. Remember the lion, Cecil the Lion?
Cecil, yeah.
Yeah. And you were talking about the last time we were on the show, I think, wanting to have like an animal psychic on.
The story you're about to read, I've been in contact with this woman.
Yeah, you have been in contact, so I definitely...
She actually likes the Facebook page right now.
Okay. So I wanted to talk to you about all that, really, because her name is, let's see here. What is her name? Karen Anderson. She is a self-described animal communicator.
Yep.
And the story was, which I first saw in Doubtful News, she's an animal psychic, she's an animal communicator, and how she became part of the story, which I'm sure a lot of people may have heard by now, it was posted on our Facebook and was posted all over the place, is that she claims that she connected with Cecil the Lion, basically in the afterlife, and that she was communicating Cecil's final words to the public, to the world or whatever. So it says on July 29th,
Yeah.
she claims to have, quote, connected
Yeah.
with Cecil.
Go ahead and read Cecil's words of wisdom, because he's he's a strange.
He's a lion from Zimbabwe.
That speaks fluent English.
Eloquent English.
And boy, he sounds a bit wooey.
He says, here's what Cecil said, allegedly. But according to Karen Anderson, here were Cecil's last words to the world. He says, quote, "Let not the actions of these few men defeat us or allow darkness to enter our hearts. If we do, then we become one of them. Raise your vibration and allow this energy to move us forward. What happened does not need to be discussed, as it is what it is." I always love that one.
Yeah.
It is what it is. "Take heart, my child. I am finer than ever, grander than before, as no one can take our purity, our truth, or our soul. Ever. I am here. Be strong and speak for all the others who suffered needlessly to satisfy human greed. Bring light and love, and we will rise above this." That was the last words of Cecil the fucking Lion.
Yeah.
All right.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. You got to give a hand to Cecil the Lion, the Zimbabwe Lion, for speaking such eloquent English.
I mean, I love that Cecil also uses words wrong, just as psychics do. You know,
What, like
vibrations and energy,
Yeah.
and I love that he's telling humans, take heart, child.
Yeah. Right.
Good stuff.
It's good stuff, yeah.
And we're gonna rise above this.
We're going to rise above it, yeah. So,
We'll rise above this.
Cecil the Lion, spiritual leader, now in his death. But let's not make fun of Cecil the Lion here, because really it's this Karen Anderson who is putting forth this idea that she spoke with Cecil and these were his last words to deliver to humanity.
And I really wanted her on the show.
Yeah, I mean, before this even happened, you were talking about wanting to get an animal psychic on the show, and
Yes.
I think we talked about on this very show how we hear these animal psychics. Apparently, they can communicate. The animals can communicate with them, and they can like translate it into English or whatever. And we kind of like laughed about how all that happens or whatever, and kind of talked about that.
Yeah.
And then like a couple days later, here's Karen Anderson with these words from Cecil. So like you said, you were in contact with her.
Yeah, I was in contact with her. Her manager or publicist or whoever it is contacted me back. They said that they wanted to make sure that this wasn't basically a gotcha show. I said, we've never been a gotcha show. I said, you can listen to any of the shows. I said, I'm not going to promise you that we're not going to ask Karen difficult questions
that we're going to believe in what she's
I made that.
preaching.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure we're not.
I made that abundantly clear that
Yeah.
we do not believe in this ability, but we think it's a fascinating topic, and I would like to talk to somebody that claims to have this ability. I said, we'll be respectful. We're not going to sit here and dog her. We're not going to sit here and,
I mean, depending on what she says.
Yeah, we've never been disrespectful to somebody.
Yeah, maybe not disrespectful, but definitely firm and tough, depending on what they say. Yeah.
And I think that if you claim to actually have an ability to do this, you should be able to fucking defend that.
Yeah, I don't even know how.
And then I got the response back that there can't be any type of negativity said about Karen or her work.
Yeah, right.
If we're going to pursue this, and I said, okay, I agree.
What does that mean though? Like there
I
can't
don't
be any
know.
negativity.
I don't know, because if that means I can't ask her tough questions, then she ain't coming on.
Yeah, well, I'm guessing that's what it means, because I don't know what that means. There can be no negativity regarding the questioning.
It sort of makes it sound like that unless you're going to agree,
unless you're going to say
kiss her
things
ass.
like, "How did you develop this ability?"
Yeah.
Wow, how did you learn that Cecil? Like all this kind of stuff. And yeah, we're not going to do that. Has she been booked on the show?
No. Nope, they stopped responding, so I figured that they're not going to come on.
But you did say she did like our Facebook page. That I didn't know, actually.
Yep, Karen Anderson did, yep.
Okay.
And this is a different Karen Anderson, which possibly could be, but I just found it fascinating that the day after I liked her page,
Okay.
to get to contact her, and then after we were in contact, she liked our page.
Yeah, so on doubtfulnews.com here on the article regarding this, it says that Karen charges $149 for a 30-minute over-the-phone session. So she does, animal psychic readings over the phone.
Yeah.
And about $150 for half an hour.
Yeah.
Which is...
And I can think about 90 ways this could be so easily tested.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but is she going to submit herself to actual testing?
No.
Yes.
No.
I mean, I'm guessing not, but I would hope so.
I think animal testing an animal psychically would be the easiest.
There's certainly ideas that come to mind that I've seen even done.
I was thinking about if we could get her to do the $1 million challenge.
Okay.
Yeah, I could think of we could have 20 people in a room.
Yeah.
That all have pets.
Right.
And then you go into a separate room from the animal, and you put a picture down of each individual.
Yeah.
And you psychically connect with the animal to figure out what animal belongs to
Yeah,
which.
right.
Which one is your owner, which one is
Exactly,
your
yeah.
companion, or whatever you want to call it.
And I think that's what happened, like when the JREF did $1 million challenge on like Dateline or like one of these like news magazines
Okay,
at night. They did like
yeah.
a similar challenge. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, the animal psychic or animal communicator would have to say, "Yes, I can do that."
Of course, yes.
It wouldn't be something you would just pose and say, "Can't you know?" And this is what you're going to do, or you're a fake or whatever. You would have to make sure that they say that they could do that.
I'm just saying that if Cecil can speak so perfect English right here, that he should have no problem being able to, as an animal, being able to identify a person that he knew
Right.
in his alive years.
Yes.
So I don't know, but that'll never happen.
Yeah,
so.
I don't foresee that happening, but that's like one test. Yeah, absolutely. One test you could do to an animal, so-called animal psychic or animal communicator.
Yep.
If they can talk to the animals and have the animal pick out the picture of their owner, and they can do that, like, say 9 out of the 10 times, or
because
even 10 out of 10 times.
I would say that there should be no reason why you can't do 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
but we'll go ahead and give you the benefit of the doubt. We'll give you 8 out of 10.
Yeah, maybe you misheard, or whatever. You misheard the dog or the cat or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the error was actually on the human. It wasn't on the
Yeah,
animal.
Right. So yeah, if you can do like 8 or 9 of the 10 times, I would think that's pretty incredible. Of course, again, if you're doing the $1 million challenge, it's a mutually agreed upon set of conditions. But yeah, that would be cool to see. I'd like to see animal psychics sign up for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think on the JREF special that they did on whatever news magazine that was, I think the psychics pretty much completely bombed that one.
Oh yeah.
After saying
Surprise.
yes, we could do that, and then they completely bombed.
And that definitely would have been a question I would have asked Karen had she come on the show.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so the final news story we'll talk about then before we move on to our trip to Lilydale. And the Lilydale trip is going to take up the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot to talk about. And this kind of weirdly, this kind of ties into it. Because
it does actually.
what happened was, over the last couple weeks, the Mormon Church has been releasing like either photographs or manuscripts, like different artifacts throughout their history. Now, I think it goes without saying, neither you or I are Mormons.
No.
And when they release these artifacts, it's not interesting to us because we're Mormons and we want to know more about it.
No, it's interesting.
obviously.
You want me to tell you why it's interesting to me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because it's so fucking stupid.
Okay.
No, seriously, what we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
And I can see, but I know what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the seer stones.
Yeah, the seer.
The seer stones used by Joseph Smith that helped him interpret the gold plates, which became the Book of Mormon.
Right, and I mean, Joseph Smith was a guy that any history I've read about him was a very charismatic individual.
Yeah.
He had the ability to not just put forward a line of bullshit and have people believe it.
Yes.
But he had the ability to make people follow him.
Yeah, he was a. By all stretches of the meaning, the man's fucking dangerous.
Yeah, and I mean, I've read it time and time again. If Joseph Smith were alive today, he would be a religious leader, and he would have a large following.
Absolutely,
he would have a following in some capacity, a large following in some capacity.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that he would have been Jim Jones crazy, but he definitely would have had. I mean, why say alive now today? He has a huge following.
Yeah, he has a following now today. Yeah,
he has a following.
Saying if Mormons never existed and Joseph Smith was just born today, having the same attributes and everything, he would rise to a level of success similar to what he did back then.
I would have to say that Mormon is probably one of the fastest growing sects of Christianity that exists.
Yeah, it is, I believe. So, the guy certainly had something, charisma, whatever. So what he used to do before he even became a religious leader is he would take a stone. He called it, I think, a peep stone. And what he would do is he would put it in his hat.
Yeah.
Like he had like a stovepipe hat or whatever. He'd put it in his hat, put the hat then up to his face and like kind of like block out the darkness. And he told people that he could find buried treasure throughout the countryside.
Yeah.
The stone would show him where the treasure was. Like he would look in the hat and they would show like a picture in there.
And I think this is what Jeffrick is talking about, that he said in the chat room that you guys do realize that Joe Smith was a convicted con man.
We'll get to that.
Before the religious crapola said. And yes, we are absolutely aware of that.
Yeah, so
Mormons somehow magically forget that.
Well, yeah, they've tried to deny it for a number of years. They tried to deny a number of things. They tried to deny that Joseph Smith was like was a polygamist at one point too. Like they've only recently really admitted that. But yeah, so what he would do is he'd put this stone in his hat, look into the hat, block out the darkness, and he would say like, "Look, this shows me where buried treasure is, and if you only pay me X number of dollars, you only pay me, I can show you where money is." Well, you know, you don't have to be much of a skeptic to know that he never found a fucking dime anywhere. He was just defrauding people everywhere.
I love that concept. Listen, people want money so bad that
Yeah.
they're going to pay people money to tell
Yes.
them where money is.
Right.
What-
Because they're thinking he's going to find like large swaths of
Yeah.
gold.
And
you
I'm
know?
thinking in my head, if that were true, Joe Smith would have just been collecting the money by himself.
One would think, but he was a humanitarian. He wanted to make sure he wanted to share the wealth. All right? But yeah, so that's what he would do back then. Well, then people would chase him around from place to place, and like Jeffrey mentioned, he was convicted of doing this of defrauding people because he defrauded a number of people, and then later on he basically used the same trick, the same idea, putting the stone in my hat and looking into the hat to translate the Egyptian gold plates that he allegedly found, which have never been seen. Those aren't something that the Mormons are going to be coming out with anytime soon, because those I don't think ever existed. But he claimed he had these Egyptian gold plates, and that he could translate them using this peep stone, the seer stone, looking into his hat.
Yep.
And from that, like you mentioned, became the Book of Mormon. So the Mormon Church has released photographs of the second stone, I believe he used.
The seer stone.
The seer stone. When you do that voice, who are you doing?
I'm doing Orb Dog.
Orb Dog's voice. The seer. So the second stone that he used, his favorite stone, apparently.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like
It's Tiger's Eye.
it's kind of like a brown and first of all, it's bigger than I thought it was. It's about egg shaped.
Yeah.
And it's like brown and black that he claimed he found like underground somewhere at one point.
If you look at it, just looking at it from here, it looks like it's like Tiger's Eye.
Yeah.
It looks like, like you said, it's about the size of an egg.
Yeah.
It's a cool rock.
Yeah, it's smooth, it's brown, it's black.
Yeah.
It actually surprised me when I seen it. I didn't expect to see that when the photographs were released. So yeah, I'm interested in it just because it's like I'm interested in like the history of like woo and like the paranormal and that kind of stuff. So like you have a lot of Ouija boards.
Yeah.
You have like we went to Lilydale yesterday where the spirit trumpet, like those trumpets.
Yeah. I have one of those.
Yeah, so you have one of those. So yeah, I'm interested in that kind of stuff, and I'm interested in this really kind of for the same reason.
Yeah, sure,
That
absolutely.
this guy claimed he could look into a hat and find treasure or translate Egyptian stone or Egyptian
I
gold
actually
plates.
didn't know that the stones existed until you showed me the story.
Okay, yeah. So so they released pictures of the actual stone.
Yep.
I thought it was cool.
I just like that in these Egyptian documents that Jesus made like an uncharted stop to like Missouri or Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of weirded me out sometimes, like how Mormonism has changed the so-called history of Christianity in a lot of ways to suit their own needs. Obviously, yeah, Jesus came to the United States at some point, and did this, and this. I mean, look, I think both the religions are, I don't believe in either one of them, but certainly odd that they changed so much history and then still call themselves a Christian. But
Yeah.
I have asked Christians if they feel Mormons are Christians too, and every Christian I've spoke to, and it hasn't been like tons, but it's been a few, they've all said basically the same thing to me anyway, and they've said that as long as they accept Jesus as a savior, as long as they accept Jesus into their life or whatever, they're considered Christians. It doesn't matter if they think Jesus came to the United States. It doesn't matter if they think Jesus did this or that or the other thing that Mormons believe. As long as they accept Jesus himself, then it's fine. Is something going on in your upstairs?
Yeah.
What is happening?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay. All right. So yeah, it was cool to see the seer stone from Joseph Smith, and there's others that I don't know if they have, but this was not the only stone. There were others, and I don't know if they have those or if those will be released later. But I think just a few days ago they released the printer's manuscript, like the original printer's manuscript from the Book of Mormon. Mm-hmm. So they're releasing a few different artifacts, or whatever you want to call it. And they're releasing them, they say, or at least people have said, that they're trying to be more transparent about their history. Because skeptics and others have, like Jeffrey mentioned in the chat room, Joseph Smith was convicted of defrauding people at times during his life. The Mormon Church kind of denied that ever happened. They kind of tried to cover that up. They've denied up until recently that Joseph Smith had multiple wives, because the current Mormon Church, the one everyone thinks of, in Utah or whatever, the main church, doesn't accept polygamy anymore. There's different sects, of course, that still do, but the current Mormon Church want to practice polygamy because they know that those people are going to get arrested and be sent to prison.
Yeah.
Warren Jeffs. Or, child rape or whatever. Those people are going to be sent to prison. But in reality, Joseph Smith had a few dozen wives. And the Mormons only really admitted that like a year and a half ago or something like that. So apparently, according to some people, they're trying to be more transparent about their history. And I think that's a good thing. I mean, if people are going to take on a religion and follow a dead man as a prophet, Joseph Smith, if they're going to consider him a prophet in their lives or whatever, they should at least know what kind of person he was, that he was convicted fraudster, that he did have multiple wives. These are things that are important, I think, for people to know.
Right.
So I'm glad they're doing that. And I don't know to what capacity they're going to continue doing that, but it's kind of cool just from like a historical point of view,
right?
Seeing the actual artifacts. All right. So, you want to talk about Lilydale now?
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead and talk about Lilydale.
Okay. We went there yesterday. About a 4-hour drive, which kind of tripped me out. Didn't realize that I could get to New York in 4 hours from Toledo, Ohio.
Yeah, I mean, you asked me at one point, like, do you want to go to Lilydale this year instead of going to the Mothman Festival? And I said, I'd love to go to Lilydale, but there's like no way we can get to Lilydale in like less than 9 hours from where we live.
Right, and that's what I thought too.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be this like huge extended road trip.
Yeah, and then I Googled it and I was like, holy shit, we can get there quicker than it takes us to get to the Mothman Festival.
Yeah, so it's like Google Maps had it like 4 hours and 15 minutes or something like that.
And
so, yeah, a lot quicker than I thought.
So, like always, Nick Callis joins us.
Yes, our buddy Nick,
who came into town on Friday.
We've had Nick and Jamie come into town before. Jamie couldn't make this trip, which I was upset about because it's always fun to have her too.
Yeah, and I like Nick coming because Nick drives.
Yes.
We got to Lilydale probably at around, I'd say 11 o'clock.
Yeah, we got there about 11 o'clock in the morning. We had like some adventures along the way too. I mean, okay, we live in Ohio, which, as you've mentioned, has a large Amish population. Not like around in the areas we live, but certainly in the more rural areas around the state. There's definitely Amish communities.
I think we have one of the biggest Amish communities in the United States.
So, I mean, you and I have seen Amish people before. It's not like when you see them, it's not like a shock or whatever. But at the same time, when you see them, you go, "Oh my God, Amish people!"
Yeah, and then you're like an idiot tourist. You take your phone out, and you're like taking pictures
of them. Yeah.
Which I got one.
Yeah, I got a picture as well. Like we were trying to look for a buggy along the way. We knew we were in an Amish area where there was going to be horse and buggies driving around. We could actually see the horse shit along the side of the road. And we were asking ourselves, like, hey, how come, like, I have to clean up my dog poop, but they apparently don't have to clean up their horse poop? So, yeah, we did eventually see a buggy. We got a picture of it.
Yep. That was great.
But, yeah.
But so we get to Lilydale, and when we get there, there's, we saw, like, the community. It's like a gated community. And then down the road, just a tad, a block or two.
Yeah.
There's, like, another psychic convention going on.
Yeah.
And we thought it was part of Lilydale, and it actually wasn't.
Like it shares a border with Lilydale.
Yeah. So we go there. We go to that side first.
Yeah.
And we're walking around. It's like a bazaar.
Yeah.
And there's tents, and there's
got a big tent. They've got people plying their wares.
Yeah. People just selling soaps, selling incense, selling
books,
jewelry, books.
Yeah. There was even one stand where somebody was giving like massages. Yeah.
And then we saw it.
We saw it.
We saw free psychic healings.
Psychic healings.
And so Kyle's was like, let's get one. I was like, I don't want one. And I was like, go get one. Yeah. I was like, we'll film you, go get it.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right.
Yeah.
So he went over
there.
all
about it.
Yeah, he went right up there, and he was like, the woman was like praying to him, saying shit like, we got to look at the sun, the daughter, and the God and the sun, and the moon and the stars, and all this. It's just like getting like all cosmic and like pseudo religious.
Right.
And like, so she starts going like this with her hands. She starts like rubbing them together. I guess this is to get the friction. I don't know. Like, maybe it's like they're like those paddles.
Right.
Like the defibrillator paddles, and like you gotta charge. She's got to get the charge going on before she can lay hands on. And then I start going up to a woman who was I don't know if she was like the order taker or whatever she was, but she was like
she was kind of like the woman that she stood out in front of the tent.
She took appointments.
There were maybe three separate people.
There were three separate people doing
three separate women all doing the psychic healings. Well, a fourth woman stood out front of all that and like basically trying to bring people in. Like, who wants a psychic healing, and you need healing, sir?
I started talking to her briefly.
Yeah.
till somehow that evolved into, do you want to get one done?
Yeah.
Because they were free. I mean, so they
were free. They were accepting offerings
Right.
if you wanted to give a donation.
which I didn't know because
Yeah.
I absolutely, it was a time I would have thrown $2 in the bowl.
Okay.
But anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't even know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Now people need to understand that when we go to these places, we're not there to freaking call out every single spiritualist woo-woo that we see. We don't believe in any of this shit.
Yeah, we
it was
obviously
an
don't believe in
experience.
it.
It was fun.
It was just an experience. We were going there. I went there, and my idea when I go to things like this, a lot of times I just want to observe and just see what happens. I want to, if not talk to people, hear people talking to other people, see what they're talking about, and see what, just I guess get the overall vibe or whatever, just kind of participate in the overall vibe, just see what it's all about.
Yeah.
And so I didn't I wasn't going around trying to
Yeah.
prove to me your ability,
Yeah.
ma'am, or whatever.
I had no intention of doing
I didn't
that.
do any of that. Yeah, I
Just
wasn't-
wanted to
I
walk
wasn't trying
around.
to get thrown out. I wasn't trying.
Yep. I wanted to find some woo that I could buy for my own collection of woo
Yeah.
and
And we'll get into all that.
and have fun. So finally I agreed. I gave Jason the recorder,
Yeah, you gave me the camera.
and you recorded in the same frame. You can see Nick and me both getting psychically healed.
Yeah.
The thing that would really I don't want to say upset me, but the thing that confused me the most is usually when you go for a healing, you know what you're going to get. You know what you're going to have healed.
Yeah,
Nobody explained anything to me.
yeah, it was just like an overall healing. Basically.
Yeah, she just comes over to me.
They didn't ask you, is there anything specific you want me to work on?
Right.
Or
Yep.
anything.
Nope.
No.
She didn't say that. Hey, I felt tension in this area, so I focused on this area more
Yeah.
than the other areas. I have a swollen lymph node. I really hoped that she was going to find that, but she
Yeah,
didn't.
she didn't. She seemed to focus from my vantage point anyway. And I was trying to record both you and Nick.
Yeah.
At the same time, I didn't realize that both of you were in frame. Because when you handed me a GoPro.
Yeah.
And
Which is a really wide lens.
Yeah, I didn't realize. So I seen through the image finder for a second, then it went dark. I didn't know how to work it, and I asked you. I said it went dark. I said, okay. You're like, yeah, just keep filming.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't see what I was actually filming, so I was just trying my best. And so at some points I got you and Nick both in frame. I would focus on you for a while. I'd look over at Nick, and I would see that it seemed like her hand, that healer's hands were a lot more busy.
Yeah.
A lot more busy over his head and his upper body or whatever. So I'd move over to her, move over to that,
Right.
and then go back to you and everything. But at one point the lady asked me if I wanted a healing. And I said I'm all healed up, thanks.
Yeah.
So
The only thing that the psychic healer asks me is that is it okay if I actually put my hands on you?
Yeah.
On your persons? And I was like, that's fine.
yeah, whatever you got to do to do
Yeah.
the healing.
So
Make with the healing.
I'm guessing that I got my chakras aligned.
Yeah.
And that all the negative energy that I was carrying with me was gone.
Yeah.
The one thing that I can say, it's actually pretty relaxing.
Okay.
But I'm just guessing that's because I sat down.
Yeah, you were sitting down and you were, relaxed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually don't think that the psychic actually, or the psychic healer actually was able to give me anything that would make me more relaxed.
Okay.
Just the act of sitting down and breathing.
Yeah. Because it was really hot out.
It was very hot.
Lilydale, as they say right on the website, is a walking community.
Yes.
You are doing a lot of walking. If
You
you're
can
gonna,
you can park your car in there.
Yeah.
But once you get past a certain point, cars aren't allowed.
Yeah,
And
so,
that's where everything is.
it's all walking. We were
Yeah.
walking for hours and hours and hours that day.
Yeah, it's great.
So anyway, about your healing though, what I meant to say is that from my vantage point, from the time I spent observing you getting your healing done, she seemed to be focusing a lot on your back.
Yep.
I mean, there were times where I seen her hand was behind your back, and it didn't move for 30 seconds, a minute at a time or whatever. It just didn't seem like she was doing anything except standing there and focusing on your back, lower back.
She must have sensed that lower back problem that I had about 6 months ago.
Okay. But she wasn't able to find your swollen lymph
Nope.
node that you've been having trouble with.
No, it's still there. Still swollen.
Still swollen. So
Yep.
do you feel anything was healed that day?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I believe after when we got done, you're like, so how was it? And I just started laughing.
Well, because you said it was funny because Nick was done first. Since Nick started first, he was done first. And he comes over to me, and I asked him how it was, and he's like, "Oh, it's pretty good." I was like, "I told you she was the greatest."
Yeah, and I almost started laughing so hard.
I didn't realize you'd even heard that, for
Yeah,
one thing.
I started biting my tongue because
I was afraid she was going to keep trying to get me to get healed, and I already told her I was all
Yeah.
healed up, and I didn't really want to do it. I wasn't interested in doing that, so I was trying to avoid
Yeah.
her talking to me. So I'd say, "I told you she was the best,"
Yeah.
trying to make it sound like I'd already done it or
Yeah.
whatever.
So after that, we got up. I wasn't going to do any of the mini $25 psychic readings.
We were all about the free.
Yeah, I'd do it if it was free.
Okay.
And even then, I don't think I would have actually called anybody out. What I was going to do is I was going to feed them a bullshit story of like my passed away mother who's actually still alive.
Okay.
And see if they could make contact with her. And then when we would walk away, I'd be like, my mom's still alive.
Yeah.
So after that, we walked down to the gates, paid our $12 to get in.
Yeah, they have an off season, or the in season and an off season. We were going during the in season time.
Yeah.
And during the in season time, you pay $12 at the gate, and then you basically have free roam of the entire village.
Yeah, I still have my.
Yeah, I got mine at home, but yeah, you get like a little gate pass.
I think we're supposed to take these out. We were supposed to give them back.
Technically, we were supposed to give it back at the end of the day. We didn't really know that until about halfway through, and I kind of thought like, no, I'm not giving it back. It's just a little piece of paper. You know?
Yeah.
Why am I giving back a little piece of paper? So yeah, I want that.
So
I paid $12 for that.
Yeah.
I want to give it back.
So we got into the little community. I think the very first thing we did was probably went to the bookstore, right? No, we went to the Crystal Cove first.
Yeah, we found ourselves at this place called the Crystal Cove, which was like a gift shop.
It's a gift shop, and it's just full of rocks and gems and rocks that are like anywhere from 75 cents to like $600.
Yeah.
And the $600 ones.
We bought a lot of the 75-cent ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like the ones that are like $600 are like ones that are like made like this tall that are
Yeah.
like pyramids and they're
Yeah.
like black onyx stone and
Yeah,
stuff like
right.
that. And you're like, holy
We
crap.
didn't really we didn't buy any of those, but
yeah, we didn't buy that. They also had a bunch of witchcraft books, a bunch of spiritualist books, a bunch of spirit communication books. They
Yeah.
had tarot cards. They had incense like you wouldn't believe. Like every time you walked into one of these stores there, the smell of just thick incense
right.
it almost suffocated you. It was terrible.
it was pretty thick, yeah.
And then the stores were actually cool though. I mean, I actually enjoyed the stores.
Yeah, I mean, some of them were a little cramped in there. Like, they had so much stuff in, it's like you couldn't... And there's a lot of people in there.
Yes, there is a
And
ton
you
of
have to,
people.
like, you're constantly, like, walking sideways, trying to get out of people's way, or squeezing between these people to get into different areas and everything, because there's so many people in there, and the store's so cramped. But, yeah, so, I mean, I bought some stuff. I didn't buy a lot. Actually, I think I have it in my pocket. Yeah, I have it in my pocket, actually.
You're supposed to carry them on your persons.
Right. I got some rose quartz. I got something called Apache tears, just because I like the idea. As I've
That
been
probably
telling
offers
people.
really good psychic protection.
You know what? I looked up some of the properties, even though there were like little tabs you could take, and I forgot to take them. But they have like little pieces of paper what individual stones did. Mm-hmm. I went looking for my own peep stone.
Yep.
I thought Joseph Smith had a seer stone. I want a seer stone, and I'm gonna get like a clear quartz stone. So I did get one of those, and I got some other stuff here, and I got rose quartz, and there's something called Apache tears. And like I keep saying to you and to Nick, the only reason I got it really was one because it was like all black, and also because I just like the idea of like an Indian crime.
Yeah.
It just
That's like that one commercial
yeah,
from the
a healing
70s.
stone, but it's about Indians crime.
Where
Yeah.
the Indian walks in the street and the guy throws the garbage and like
Glitter,
it closes up on his tear.
Yeah, right.
That's actually what you got. You got that tear petrified here.
Yes, that's
Petrified teardrop.
that's basically what they believe it is. Yeah.
And then after that, we went out. We went to. Did we go to the museum after that?
I don't remember exactly what order we went
Yeah.
and things, but we can talk about the
We
museum.
went to the museum. We went, and the Spiritualist Museum was actually really cool.
Yeah, because some stores like some places we went back later.
Yeah.
It's like I don't remember what order, but yeah, we
So
did go to the
We
museum.
went to the museum, and in the museum they had a bunch of like pictures of different psychics and mediums, actual pictures of like mediums expelling ectoplasm from every orifice of their
Yeah.
body. Spirit slates, spiritualist or
Yeah.
seance trumpets.
They had like little busts of the Fox sisters, like little tiny. Would it really be a bust? I mean, it was.
It was cool.
Yeah,
I don't know what they were.
It was a depiction of the Fox sisters,
Yeah.
but on a,
I would say that they're little busts.
yeah,
about
like
that.
tiny busts.
Yeah.
not very big, but
Yeah, not one that would be like in the Hall of Fame or something.
yeah, yeah, right. It's not like life size or
Yeah,
anything.
these were miniature.
Yeah.
They almost look like salt and pepper shakers.
Right. Yeah, it's a good way to put it actually, because they were smaller.
There was a Joe Nickel there.
Yeah, Joe Nickel had clearly been there because one of his calling cards, his wooden nickel that says Joe Nickel,
But-
was there.
One of the pieces of envy that were in that collection was a basket of bent spoons.
Yes,
And I actually happened to be wearing the Bent Spoon magazine shirt yesterday.
Yes.
And I begged the guy that was there, the guy that was responsible for... See, these bent spoons weren't part of the museum. What they were like, they were all by somebody's business card.
Yeah, he had his bunch of his business cards.
I
tucked
think
in
his
there,
name was
too.
Ron Nagy.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And he was there, and I begged him. I was like, "Can I please have one of your bent spoons?" He's like, "No,
You can't have
one of those spoons."
Sonny.
And I was like, "But I have a magazine called the Bent Spoon Magazine." He's like, "Oh, that sounds interesting. Where's your restaurant?" And I was like, "What?" It's like, "I don't have a restaurant."
Yeah, it's called Bent Spoon Magazine. Here's the shirt, Bent Spoon Magazine. Where's your restaurant? He asks. So I'm not sure if the guy was completely
With
all
it?
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not really sure, but yeah, he wouldn't let you take any of those spoons for one thing.
Yep.
And I was even thinking, like, could you ask him if you can like bring him a spoon? Will he psychically bend it?
Yep.
Because that would have been a cool thing for
Yep.
your little.
I would
collection.
even give him a spoon and then walked away and came back a couple hours later.
Yeah, I mean, if you
so I
wanted-
didn't have to see him actually. bend it.
Right. We could have done that, but
Yep.
he didn't really seem to be in the mood for
Yep.
doing anything except for just chatting, really.
Yep. After that, we went to the Fox Sisters Foundation Memorial Site,
Yeah. So
in
I mean,
which the Fox Sisters have the. It's in where's the actual house located?
well, the actual house that they lived in, where, like, basically where the spiritualist movement began, really, in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Like, and we kind of talked about their history a couple weeks back. The Fox Sisters' house was actually in Hydesville, New York.
Hydesville.
Now, at one time, apparently, it was moved to Lilydale.
Yeah, it was moved to Lilydale, and that's
then-
sort of like where the assembly group started.
Yeah.
Around like the house of the Fox Sisters, and then it was moved back to Hydesville.
Something, I don't even know if it's the original house
Right.
anymore.
So, but
it could be a replica,
yeah.
or it could just be where it stood. I don't really know, but the house was definitely not in Lilydale.
but the monument was,
Yes,
and
the
I could
monument.
feel the energy.
Yeah.
I could
well,
feel it.
Bob, even before we even pulled into Lilydale, like when we were like still 30 minutes away, I began to feel the vibrations.
Yeah.
You could feel it throughout
Yeah.
your body that you knew you were getting close.
Yep.
If you looked into out into the horizon,
Yeah.
you could actually see the energy
Yeah.
hovering above.
It was
where
like a
Lilydale
green.
was.
It was like a green glowing.
At that point, we didn't even need the GPS.
Nope.
We just followed the energy
followed-
that was
yep.
in the sky.
And we got there fine.
Yes.
We also went to this thing. It was
But
called.
what was the Fox Sisters monument? Like, let's talk about
Oh yeah,
that a
sure. It
little
was
bit,
just a big square that said this is where the Fox Sisters house stood.
yeah. So there was no house there. Just,
Yeah.
it
A
just-
monument to where the house once stood.
Yeah, and there was like a little walking path and like a little fountain.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a nice, quiet place. Like,
Nice place to sit down.
yeah, there was benches and everything. It seemed like every bench that was in all of Lilydale had like a little sign on it that was like
It was dedicated to somebody.
dedicated
memory
to
of
someone who'd
somebody.
passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Because
mean,
nobody ever dies in Lilydale.
that's Lilydale was the subject of an
You
HBO
just turn into a
documentary.
bench.
Yeah, you turn into a bench. Lilydale was the focus of an HBO documentary several years back called "No One Dies in Lilydale."
Yep. And then where else? I'm having
We
my
went.
parts.
I mean, we went to the Ferry Village, and
Oh, yeah, let's talk about
walked
that.
along the ferry trail.
yes, we went to this thing. It was called the ferry trail.
Yes.
And when you walk into the ferry trail, basically you're just walking into the woods, and there's a bunch of little houses that are everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
they're freaking. There's hundreds of them.
Yeah, it looked like little fairy houses, little
Yeah.
doll houses. Some things people had made like just like a tin can.
Yep.
But it was like decorated to
Yep.
look like, I guess, what a fairy house would look like.
Yep.
And there were little fairy figurines, all throughout these doll houses and everything else.
Yeah. I mean, it was.
Things hanging from the trees,
Yeah.
things on the ground, things on tables.
And I guess the reason why they call this the fairy trail is because there's a woman that lives in the assembly that goes to that woods and takes pictures of orbs and fairies.
That's what we heard. Yeah.
I saw the pictures.
Yeah. So,
They had the pictures over at the bookstore, which is another place that we visited.
yeah.
We went to the bookstore. The bookstore was like, it reminded me of like a trailer. You walked in and it was just like a couple rooms of some.
Yeah, everything that we went into didn't look like a store.
Right, yeah.
It looked like a house that had just been converted into a store, basically.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
yeah.
it was hard to, like, we went to a coffee shop at one point. We went to a museum at one point. We went to gift shops and things like that. And every one just looked like you wouldn't know it from the outside unless you saw the sign.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking we're walking by a house and I look over and like, oh, this is the museum.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And that's
like,
exactly what they were.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was just
Yeah.
a house that had been converted into a museum or
Yep.
a gift shop or whatever.
Yep.
So,
And the lady there was really nice. I actually wanted a Lilydale shirt, but they were all terrible. So I bought a Lilydale mug.
yeah.
You
I
bought a
a-
Lilydale
I
mug.
bought a Lilydale mug as well.
One thing that has to be said, though, is that everybody that works there is beyond friendly.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of concerned like, before we went there, I was concerned, like, okay, this is a community of psychics or, mediums and everything. Are they going to be, like, coming out the house trying to, like, accost you in the street, trying to come to me, come to me, I will give you a reading, sir.
What's funny about that is that it is so established
Yeah.
that they don't need to do that.
Right, yeah.
Because people are flocking to these houses for
right.
readings.
Yeah.
These readings, and I'm not kidding you, this is just yesterday was no spectacular date.
Yeah.
Yesterday was just an everyday, ordinary day in Lilydale. They had a couple new speakers that would come in. That's what you're actually paying the $12 for. You're paying these $12 for because they probably figure that you're going there to go to these free workshops and these free speeches or whatever that they do every single day anyway.
Right.
Every single psychic medium that lived in the block that we were walking around, that lived in, like I said, there's like a radius of like 10 blocks that all house the people of Lilydale. And every other house has a sign that says medium. And every single one was sold out for the day.
Yeah, yeah. No kidding.
It was insane.
Right.
These people don't have to go out and ask people like, hey, do you need a reading?
Yeah.
$5.
Right.
They go to them.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Yeah, so my worries were completely unfounded.
Yeah.
There's nobody coming out trying to snag you out of the street to get a reading. They just expect you to come to them, basically.
It did not happen not one time. I didn't see it happen to anybody else.
Yeah, nor did I see. Yeah, I agree. I didn't see it happen to anybody else either. So, my worry about that, about having them trying to come out and get you out of the street or whatever, were completely unfounded. Because I was thinking, I don't want to be bothered. I just want to walk around and see things and observe and all that. I don't want to be bothered by the mediums. Have them come out and try to snag you up. So yeah, that didn't happen. And everybody we encountered, whether it was somebody that claimed to have an ability or whether it was somebody who would just work behind the counters of the stores and everything, completely nice.
Oh, yeah.
Friendly, outgoing, helpful.
Yeah.
You could ask basically anybody that worked there a question about whatever. If you wanted to do something or what one particular attraction was about or whatever, they would help you out.
Yeah, they would let you know.
So when we were at the bookstore looking around, and there was just books, and they had copies of the documentary, the HBO documentary, No One Dies in Lilydale, and mugs and that kind of stuff. So I bought a mug, you bought a book and a mug, and Callis bought some stuff. I can't remember what he bought.
I actually bought a book by Ron Nagy, the man that bends spoons, and it was about spirit slate communication.
Should have had him sign it.
He did.
Okay, good.
I didn't. It was already signed. I didn't need to have him re-sign it.
He already signed it. All right.
They actually have this is kind of wild. So they have their own fire department and their own police department, and their own ambulance squad. But what it is actually, it's just people that actually work at different, different departments in New York, and they go there on their own dime in their own time and volunteer. And they have people there 365 days a year. Yeah. They're there all year round. And they just volunteer their own personal time for free.
Yeah, I don't know much about the police department, but I seen that the fire department said volunteer only and all this. So
I think it's all sort of part of the same.
Yeah, probably all
same,
is. I just
same group of people.
I'm sure it probably is. I just don't know because I didn't see it. But yeah, so they were completely outgoing and friendly and helpful. And so when we were at the bookstore, we were asking them questions about certain things. I think you asked the woman behind the counter. What is the fairy village? What is the fairy trail? She's going on and on about that. Another woman came in there asking, she came to Lilydale looking for tarot readings. Yeah. And what was she told?
Yeah, this one kind of weirded me. I know it weirded me out, but it was a little really.
It surprised me. Yeah.
It was that's the demarcation line.
Yeah.
They don't offer tarot readings in Lilydale. Now they do sell a wide variety of tarot cards.
Yeah, we've definitely seen a lot of tarot cards for sale.
But they don't actually have a place where you can go set up to give or actually have people in Lilydale that do tarot readings.
Yeah, which surprised me actually because I just thought it's a whole community here. Someone's got to do tarot readings, right?
Right.
They don't offer tarot
That's what I thought. I thought that too. I thought you could at least get a tarot reading.
Yeah. So that woman was surprised too.
I think she was too. She was like, really?
I came here for a tarot reading. I can't get one?
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't offer tarot readings. And she went on to tell her but we do have a wide offering of mediums. You can get readings. You can do this, and the other thing. But tarot readings are not apparently not done. I don't know if it's a rule or just no one there does them. I don't know.
Yeah,
that wasn't specified, but. I mean, with the number of houses that we saw that had, the shingle out front for the medium, and not anybody does a tarot reading, I don't know why, but that kind of surprised me as well.
And then we also went to eat.
We did go eat at the
Sunflower Cafe.
Sunflower Cafe, yeah.
I had a vegan burger.
Yes, you did.
Which was surprisingly delicious.
As did Nick.
Nick
He also
did.
had the
He thought it was
vegan
very
burger.
good. You had a bacon cheeseburger, which you said tastes like garbage.
It tasted like actually a dead psychic is what it tasted like. When the mediums there die, no one dies in Lilydale because then you eat them.
Yes, and they just
you all
become
become
part
one.
of them. Yep, you just
You're
become,
right.
or they become part of a bench.
Yeah, so when you see the sign saying like we are all one, that's what it means.
Yeah.
It's like when they die, you eat them. Yeah,
Yep, we consume them, and we.
the burger wasn't. It didn't taste great. It tasted like.
It looked like a high school burger.
Yeah, it tasted like a microwave cheeseburger, or whatever, which may have very well been what it was. But
Yep.
whatever. I mean, you have to eat it, so
Yep.
that's what was there.
I think another place that we went to was the Forest Temple.
Did you go to the Forest Temple? We were the only people there.
Yeah, we were the only ones that showed up for service.
I don't know if there was like times throughout the day where something happens there, but they were like a row of pews, and this is all outdoors.
Yeah.
All outside. There's rows upon rows of pews that you can sit in, or benches, or whatever you want to say, that you can sit in. And there's a little building up that all the pews are facing that says Forest Temple on it. And there's clearly an area there where people would sit and give like a sermon or give a talk or whatever, but there happened to be nobody there, and I can't recall ever passing it and seeing anybody else there.
Right, right.
So I don't know when their times are, but they weren't doing anything apparently that day, or at least not the times we saw. So we just, hung around, took pictures, went up on the stage or whatever
I
you
don't
would
know
call
what
it.
we call
Yeah, I don't know what you would call
platform,
it.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
the platform right underneath the Forest Temple logo or whatever. And just basically kind of hung
Yep.
out and sat around, and
There
we
was
probably
like
could have
a-
sat there another half hour and
There
not
was
think
an,
anyone was coming.
There was an offering that was given to us.
Yes.
Jason had discovered that there was $1 on like the mantle, and then Callis took it.
Yeah, it was
and then
underneath
went and bought a magnetic ring.
I saw this dollar sticking out from underneath a plant that was at the podium or whatever. And I just kind of said something like, "There's $1 under there," that I assumed someone had left there as an offering.
Yep.
Callis promptly took that dollar.
Yep, he did too.
Which I wouldn't have. Would you have?
No.
I wouldn't have taken it. I
was
just
gonna leave
figured
it there.
someone left that for the temple or
Yeah,
whatever.
it was for temple maintenance.
Yeah, right. Which apparently either they don't do much of, or it's just not much is needed.
Yeah.
But yeah, Callis took that dollar and bought himself a magnetic ring.
So, but it's not like the money ever left Lilydale.
Right, exactly. The money went right back into the Lilydale
Yep.
economy.
Yep.
So, I guess if we can cover it that
Yep.
way. But yeah, so an offering was made then to Nick.
We ended up going to a bargain shop.
Did go to a place called the Bargain Shop.
Yep, and which I bought worry dolls for my girls.
Yeah, what were these worry dolls?
So these worry dolls are like these little dolls that are made of like an inch a piece. They're about an inch tall piece, and then
Yeah.
basically it comes with 6 in a little bag. And what you do is you tell each doll a worry, and then at nighttime these dolls are supposed to wake up and solve your worries.
Yeah, you each worry, you tell the doll the worry, you
Yep.
put it in a bag, and this
Yep.
little cloth bag that's offered in there, right?
Yep.
And then you tell your 6 worries for the 6 dolls into the bag, close the bag, and then in the morning, I guess
Your worries are gone.
your worries are gone.
And the worry dolls are the ones that
yeah,
took care of
the
it.
dolls are still there. You take the dolls back out, then
Yep.
worries about some more things
Yep.
the next day, I guess. But
Yep.
um,
That's good stuff.
have they tried that, or have you tried that? Because I know you bought one for
I
yourself.
bought
as
one for
well.
myself, but I bought one for my collection of Woo.
Okay.
I also bought one of those small little black pyramids that is supposed to protect me from the different types of electromagnetic radiation given off by cell phones, computers,
Yeah.
and television sets.
And can we at least say this? When we were leaving, I'm not saying this stuff works, but I am telling you the truth when I say when we were leaving, the GPS was having an awful difficult time finding the satellite
Yep.
connection.
And when I put it away, it calculated our route.
That's all we're saying.
That's it.
I'm not saying it was because of the stone. I'm just saying, right? As people say.
I also bought Shiva's phallus. Or
Yeah, Shiva's
Phallus.
Yeah.
I didn't know Shiva had one.
But yeah, I didn't know much about Shiva before this. But
Basically, it's like a little stone. It's about that big, and it looks like a Shankara stone from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
And that is the only reason why I bought it. Is because
Right.
it looked like a Shankara stone.
Right.
It goes, for the rest of the day, I would pull it out and go, now you see the magic of the rock.
Yeah. So, like, I bought some stones at the Crystal Cove. I bought
Yep.
other stones and some necklaces at, might have been, was it at the bargain shop? Or
And
was
you
it-
bought them at the bargain shop.
At the bargain shop, yeah. So I don't remember I remember these I bought at the Crystal Cove. These I must have bought at the bargain shop. And I don't remember what all of them are, though. Like what they do.
Right.
Or even what they're called, honestly. I remember I have the clear quartz.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that I got that. Like I said, I got that because I wanted my own seer stone. I got the Apache tears, and I got the rose quartz. And I don't remember what metaphysical properties they're supposed to have,
But they do have them.
Yeah, they all had some type of metaphysical property. Allegedly,
I bought my
so-
daughter like a tiger eye
Yeah.
rock, and I was reading the little, like, it protects her from psychic attacks.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say is that the ones I do remember, I looked up online, like what metaphysical properties they're said to have. And basically, it all comes down to some type of psychic healing.
Yep.
So, like, it protects you from negative psychic energies. It, cleanses your psychic palate or whatever.
What I love, though,
It protects you from psychic attacks.
about your rocks,
Yes.
is that the woman behind the counter was
Yes.
explaining to you how this works.
Yeah.
Basically, you just got to carry them on your person.
Unprompted.
Yep. You just got to carry these rocks on your person.
Yes.
And then at the end of every day, when they're filled with negative energy, you just wash it in the water.
Yeah, right. So when we were back at the Crystal Cove, 'cause we went to Crystal Cove early in the day, and then went back. That was the last thing we did at Lilydale. At the end of our trip, we went back to the Crystal Cove, and I bought like these couple more stones. I bought the Apache Tears and the Rose Quartz at the end of the day, and completely unprompted. I didn't ask for any advice. I didn't seek it out from anywhere. I just was. They were each, I think, each 75 cents. So I had my $2 bills ready, had on the counter and everything, and she said, "Now the way you want to use these," she just started telling me. She said the way these are used is just simply carry them on your person. That's how they work. Just simply carry them with you. And yeah, she said once they're filled with negative energy, you just wash it with water.
Yeah.
You just rinse them off, basically. So immediately I'm thinking, everybody that goes to Lilydale or to the surrounding areas for healings, couldn't they just take a shower?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I was like, I'm thinking in my head, I said to you, I go, basically all we have to do is practice good hygiene.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
And every night after your shower or every morning at your shower, I mean, if you take a shower twice a day, which I know a lot of people do, you take one when you wake up, one before you go to bed, you're set.
Yeah. I mean,
The negative energy is washed off in the morning, so you got a fresh start.
I know a lot of people who shower regularly who have negative feelings or whatever. So I shower regularly. I
Yep.
have negative feelings like anybody else
You're
does.
just not washing them away properly.
Apparently, I'm not washing enough. I mean, my showers are quick. I don't spend a lot of time in the shower, but I don't know. I mean, I use soap. I use shampoo.
It's not the right kind.
It's not good enough. So yes, all I have to do though, once these stones are filled with negative energy, and I don't know exactly when I'm supposed to know they are, but apparently
I would just say that just to be on the safe side, you should wash them every night.
I'm going to wash them daily. Is what
Yep.
I'm going to do. She just said just rinse them off with water.
Yep.
So that it's as easy as that to get rid of negative energy. Just water is all it takes.
That's it. That's all you need, just to wash them off. We went to this place called A Cup of Joe,
Yeah, which was the coffee
which
shop.
you bought. You treated us all to. You treated Callis to a mug of coffee, which he drank out of his Lilydale mug,
Yes.
and then you and I had the sweetest fucking lemonade I've ever tasted.
Yeah. And,
Now, one of the things that
and you mean literally sweet.
it was the sweetest fucking
They
lemonade.
must have-
It was so bad that I had to drink it so slow because I thought I was gonna puke.
We each had large lemonades, and it was very lemony. It seemed like it was fresh squeezed or whatever. But the amount of sugar they put into this.
They had to have put between both of us. They had to have used the whole bag,
Yeah, I'm guessing like they must fill the cup, the
halfway
large cup
with
halfway
sugar.
with sugar, and then pour lemonade on top of it.
It was so
It
sweet.
was ridiculously sweet,
Yeah.
like so sweet that when I took my first sip, like my head kind of like jolted
Yeah,
back.
it was
from
so
tasting
sweet
it.
that when I took the drink, I was thinking, why did I let Corbus pay for this? Because I just want to throw it away, but I can't because he paid for it, so I have to drink it.
But see, for me, even if you would have paid for it, I would have been thinking, it is such a hot day, and we've been walking so much today. I was just happy to be sitting down and sipping something cold.
Yeah.
It was definitely too sweet.
Yeah, it was nasty.
It was too sweet for me, but I had no problem finishing it because I was so tired and hot.
But just to give people an example of the type of people that are there, so like when we're walking into A Cup of Joe, there's this gentleman that's sitting out on the porch. He's just talking. This is just like everyday conversation.
Yeah.
Like, they were talking about. What I overheard him say was like, before I knew the laws of nature and the laws of attraction, before moving here to Lilydale, and learning the whole spiritualist movement, and then the woman cuts him off. It's like, well, are you a medium? Can you do readings? He goes, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I read. Yeah, I'm an intuitive and I do readings.
And that's when we sat down, we were talking about that, we realized that we were pilgrims in an unwanted land.
Yes.
Everybody around
Yeah.
it didn't hit. The thing that's funny about it is like you realize that going in there.
Yeah.
It didn't hit me until a couple of hours. I was like,
Yeah.
everybody here thinks they can talk to dead people.
Yeah, I mean, look, there was me, you, and Callis that were there in our group, and we're all skeptical. We don't believe in this kind of stuff, and I think for very good reasons. And there may have been other people
Sure.
that were skeptical as well that just came to check it out. But by and large, like not just from hearing from the psychics, but hearing from other people just in the street, just either from talking to them or overhearing their conversations. Everybody I came across, or that was talking about it, clearly believed that this is like a very special place, and that you can come here and get healed, and you can do this and that and the other thing, and that everything that was being put forth as as claims all was true.
Yeah.
And that's kind of really interesting thing to talk about. I remember Callis even said that at one point. He said something like, "No, literally everyone here believes in this."
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, so I had posted just a few pictures that I took myself last night on my Facebook, like 1:30 in the morning or something. And I said, like, it was a great trip, terrific trip and all this, and we had a lot of fun, but it was also like an exercise for the skeptical muscles.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I mean, we went to a place yesterday that, first, I mean, I can't stress this enough. It is a community that is filled with mediums.
Yeah.
They live there. It's their house.
Yes.
It's not like they come there. It's not like they work 8 to 5 or whatever.
Yeah. They do everything in this little
That's where they live, yeah.
community. Yeah.
They live there.
They work there.
Yeah, they work out of their house and everything. So
And people come to them.
yeah, people come to them. This is they've done great PR because there was a lot of people there. It wasn't as crowded as like the Mothman Festival, but again, the Mothman Festival happens for 3 days during the year. Lilydale is like an everyday thing, where people can come. So there was, definitely hundreds of people there, but like scattered out over a much larger area.
Yeah.
And walking around and doing this and that. And yeah, so we would hear people talk about their own mediumship abilities and their own ability to read. And
People that were looking to go to mediums.
Yeah.
And people that were around the community that were just waiting to go
Right.
get mediums. And then we were walking around. There's actually a lot of things that we didn't go to. We didn't go to the labyrinth.
Yeah, there was like things that we had planned to do that we just like, I don't know, were we just so tired we were just ready to go?
Yeah.
I know my feet were definitely hurting after, towards the end of the day. And yes, there was things that we just didn't do.
There's like a labyrinth.
Yeah.
There's a walk through pet cemetery.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't even run across it at some point.
I know.
We were in a lot of places. And
There was a
inspiration
stump.
Inspiration stump. I never saw it in person. I saw it on the website.
Yeah.
But it's just it really is just a tree stump that is covered in like it's like surrounded by a little gate, and
It provides inspiration.
it provides inspiration apparently.
But if I guess people are tuning in to hear like these takedown stories that we have none. That's actually basically our entire trip to Lilydale.
Yeah, I mean when we were going to Lilydale, never in my mind did I think like I can't wait to go there and school the shit out of some mediums.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna.
First of all, I wasn't going to pay the mediums the fee or whatever to go in there just to start trying to take someone down or
and then
whatever.
get kicked out.
Yeah, or get kicked. That was one thing I was worried about. I don't want to do anything that's going to get us kicked out.
Yeah.
Like if I go to the Creation Museum, I'm not trying to get kicked out. I'm not trying to spend money on a ticket.
I'm not going to
and
argue.
then get kicked out.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with the tour guide at the Creation Museum.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly how Lilydale worked. I don't know what we would have had to do to get kicked out, but my whole goal of going there was just to take it all in and just to observe. I wasn't going there to try to like be the arch skeptic or to try to catch people on logical fallacies or whatever this day. I just wanted to observe and take it all in. And I'll be honest, like even though I don't believe in any of the paranormal claims that are put forth there, I had a really good time on Lilydale. I enjoyed being there.
I liked it better than the Mothman Festival. And I'm guessing that's just because we've gone to the Mothman like 7 years ago.
Yeah, we've went to the Mothman Festival like 7 or 8 years in a row. So like, I mean, you go there once. You go to the Mothman Festival one time, you've experienced everything.
And I'm sure that's probably what Lilydale would be after visiting it a few times.
Probably, yeah. But I think, do we want to go back again next year?
I'd like to go back, yeah. So I actually think that Jamie didn't go this year.
No, yeah.
I think Jamie would like going.
To go while she's there, yeah. I think she might even enjoy it a lot more than we did.
Yeah.
Because for one thing, she likes to take pictures of a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like we took pictures, but like of ourselves doing stuff. Jamie's like really into art and photography, so I think there's a lot of things there that she would really enjoy seeing. So yeah, we definitely want to go back.
Yeah.
And it was $12 for us during the in-season hours. I'm pretty sure I saw on the website that their off-season hours are actually free.
It is.
You can just go in, and the mediums and everything is still there. There's different hours for like stores. Like their off-season hours they're probably not open as long during the day as during the in-season time. But most of the stuff is still open.
Yeah.
Now, they might not have some of the regular programs they do. Because, again, a lot of the programs and stuff they do are things that happen outdoors.
Right.
And if it's the winter time, they're not going to they're not going to be doing outdoor readings or whatever, for a group in the middle of winter. That's not going to happen. So some of those programs might not be available, but all in all, you could still go in like the middle of, the fall or whatever
Yeah.
during their quote off season and still have, I think, a similar experience.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
So that was
Is that really it? I mean, we've barely even talked an hour.
that's it.
We just talked too fast.
We're sweet.
What did I want to say? There was something else I wanted to mention, but I can't remember what it is now. Oh, well.
On the way home, I watched the black guy throw up everywhere.
We might as well talk about that. We have to pass through Cleveland. We basically follow Lake Erie. From Toledo, we follow Lake Erie, basically, all the way through until we get to New York, and then, we kind of veer off. But,
Yeah.
Yes, back when we were coming back, and we were in Cleveland, Ohio, yes, what did you see?
I was backing out to go into the street,
We were in the gas station.
and as I turn around, my eye meets this black
dude.
guy who's standing behind the truck, and he opens his mouth and just launches everywhere. It was phenomenally disgusting.
It looked like dog food.
And
on
then,
the ground.
then I look over at Corbus. He goes, "I got a picture."
I did, yeah. I didn't get a picture of actually him in mid-hurl. I got a picture of like...
I actually think I was the only one that saw him in mid-hurl.
Yeah.
'Cause I was like, "Oh my god, that guy just yacked
Yeah,
everywhere."
by the time I looked over, he was just like, he was hunched over, but I never saw anything actually come out of his mouth. And he was kind of like leaning up against his truck, like, oh. And you could see like the vomit all over the floor.
It was
all over
wild.
the ground.
I mean, like normally when you see people throwing up, you just see it like going into the toilet or like they're bending over. Like this shot like feet, at least 3 or 4 feet. It was like projectiling out. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah. I'll say this though, like the lead into Lilydale and the lead out, like, in the 10 minutes before you get there and 10 minutes when you're leaving, it is so incredibly hilly.
Yeah.
Like
It's
you're
scary
going, it feels like almost straight up.
Yeah, it feels like you're
up a
going
very
up and down
steep
like roller coasters.
Yeah, you're going up a very steep incline.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the top, you can't even see the street below you.
It was scary.
Yeah, so it's like
It was nauseating too.
it was. Yeah, well, I was having. Yeah, you were definitely nauseated. You were like almost borderline terrified at certain points.
Yeah, it was because it is so steep.
Yeah,
it's like you get to the top and you can't. It feels like you can't see down, but you
Yeah.
obviously can.
Like here's what it feels. It feels like when you're at the top of these hills, it feels like you're going to fall off the earth.
Yeah.
But clearly you're not. I mean, there's
Yeah.
cars coming on the other side of you. You know everything's fine. Yeah. But that's how steep it is. You're not even.
I don't mean when you get to the tippy top you can't see down. I mean like, as you're
Yeah.
going up, you can't see over.
Right. So,
You have no idea how steep the descent is.
yeah, and like so they'll have these signs around the area of like the horse and buggy, like
Yeah.
basically telling you to watch out for the Amish people.
Yeah.
And
And I'm like, how can you?
yeah, in certain areas, I honestly don't see how you could. If there was an Amish person, like if there's an Amish horse and buggy right on the other side of this hill, you might not see them.
Yeah.
Until it's too late.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the scary part for me because I'm thinking if there's like a pedestrian right on the other side of this, how would you know? And hopefully they're not in the street is what you're hoping. Now you can like when you're at the top, you can see for like miles.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see for miles down these streets. So you don't think there is, but yeah, it is a little nerve wracking. But going up the hill and then down the hill, yeah, it feels like a roller coaster. Like whee! I was like putting my hands up in the car like you would do on a roller coaster. Yeah, that was wild. And there was like I can only describe it as like a dead man's curve.
Oh, that was terrifying.
There were some curves there that like, cars are coming around this side, you're going around the corner, and there's not much room for error.
Yeah.
I mean, if you make like a 6-inch mistake this way, you're going to hit that oncoming car. And if you make a 6-inch mistake the other way,
You're into the forest.
yeah, you're going into the forest through the gate or whatever. So it was a little scary. I mean, you couldn't, this is not a place you should drive fast. Definitely don't
Please
go
don't.
fast around those curves, clearly. But
I wasn't even going the speed limit.
yeah, I mean, that should go without saying. But yeah, and what we thought was funny is we passed one and it was called like Nelson Hill
Yep.
or whatever. So I told Bobby, I said, because Bobby's worried. I mean, you were getting a little nervous. And I was saying, Bobby, if there's one perfect place for you to die in all of this world, it would be Nelson Hill.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you appreciated it or not.
I didn't.
But you were already afraid of hitting something or being hit. And I'm telling you, a perfect place for you to die would be right here.
So,
Bobby Nelson was killed today on Nelson Hill. When oh, it was great. But
anyway.
But yeah, overall though, I mean, I'll say we had a really good time in Lilydale, and it's not because there's like rides or carnival rides or anything like that, or it was just fun just to observe everything and participate in the different things they had up there. I mean, like when we went to the ferry trail, that was a lot more low rent than I was expecting.
Yeah, it was.
I kind of figured there was gonna be like fairy figurines hanging from the trees or whatever everywhere, and
Yeah.
some of it was, but like it was really just like a forest or like a wooded area that there was like obviously a pathway that you could take, but yeah, it was just a lot of crap laying on the ground that spiders and bugs had
It
made
almost looked
homes
like a
in.
junkyard.
Yeah, it was the spiders and bugs and everything had made homes in. You could see the spider webs all over the place and all that. And so yeah, it was a little bit more low rent than I was expecting, but I still can't say I didn't enjoy it. And next year, if we go back next year, and I think we just might.
Yeah.
Maybe make a regular thing of this. And honestly, I don't think we even have to go during the in-season hours.
Yeah, no.
We could go during the off-season and
I don't care about the signings and the psychics and
Yeah.
everything that go there.
I'd like to check on the off-season hours for like the cafe and that kind of stuff too, because I don't think they're going to be open as long.
Probably not.
So if we go next year, if we go in an off-season time, we want to make sure if we're going to spend any length of time there, you want to be able to have a place to eat. You want to be able to see the bookstore and the museum and all that, and you want to get there during a time where you can actually visit them and they're not closed. So
Yeah.
that I want to check on first. But if we go during the in-season, I had no problem paying $12 again to go in. I wouldn't care.
Yeah, me either.
All right.
Good stuff.
Nothing else to report, Bob?
Nope.
People may be upset with this show
Nah, because we did.
because we didn't do a show last week, and we came back this week and didn't even. It's an hour and 15 minutes in.
Maybe we'll post our conversation we had with Callis,
We can do that.
and then we can make it like a surprise.
Okay. All right. All right. So we should be back next week.
Yep.
I foresee no catastrophes on the horizon.
Unless you get a bellyache.
It's possible. So I have nothing new to report. You've gotten everything out that you wanted to say. All right.
Yes, sir.
That was our trip to Lilydale. A time we will probably reference throughout the course of this, going
rest
forward
of the
on the
show.
show. Yeah, we'll mention little moments that we remembered because something will trigger our memory or something. But for now, until we meet again, which is probably going to be next week, Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern.
Please tune
noon
in.
Pacific. Let the world of the weird keep turning.
Good night, citizens of Earth.